New York's former Democratic congressman, you might recall, was very much in the camp that said just winning is everything, whoever can get you over the finish line. He failed to do that when he took on Ocasio-Cortez, of course, who unseated him last year in one of the bigger political upsets of our time. Joe Crowley with us right now. Joe, good to see you.
Thank you, Neil. Good to be with you.
She has been very critical, as you know, Joe, saying that Bernie is much more in keeping with the pulse and the passion of the party than sort of a lukewarm, middle of the road, moderate who failed to get anything done on the environment, Joe Biden. What do you think of that?
Well, I think what's important to keep in perspective is that, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who replaced me, or the woman who replaced Mike Capuano in Boston, or replaced John Conyers in Michigan, or Keith Ellison in Minnesota, replaced Democrats. Where the battle will take place is not in Boston, not in New York City per se, or big cities. It's going to be in the breadbasket of the country. It's going to be the Rust Belt of the country. And that's where I think, a more moderate position is more appealing, I think, in a broad-based sense to garnering Democratic voters.
When you look back at the phenomena that was her campaign against you, Joe, a lot of people have said that this represents the real passion in your party and not the kind of reach across the aisle politics that you did. What do you think of that?
Well, I think you have to look and see the results of the election. We won back the House of Representatives, again, not by taking my seat, but by winning a seat in New Jersey by Mikey Sherrill, by winning seats in Iowa, in Pennsylvania.
In other words, that moderates of the 40 who gained seats to tip the House, I think you're right. I think it's 34 who were deemed moderate.
Right, and I think that what that means is that we have a broad-based appeal. Democrats can appeal to independent and to Republican voters.
So what does that say, Joe? I just want to be clear. Are you saying that a Bernie Sanders as your nominee is more of a roll of the dice than, let's say, a Joe Biden?
I think that there are more opportunities in this primary of options. When Bernie Sanders ran against Hillary Clinton, he was the only option if you didn't want Hillary Clinton.
Right.
In this particular case, you have a myriad of individuals, Elizabeth Warren and others, who have similar positions to Bernie Sanders and options that people didn't have.
No doubt. But he's the one, and believe me, as you reminded me, and know well, polls can be fleeting, and Biden, for the time being, is the guy who stacks up the best against the president in a mock-up now election, and that again is subject to big changes, as we've learned. But what do you make of that he has the best chances to win?
I think that Joe Biden has name recognition, served as vice president, was a senator, was a congressman. He has the background, I think, that it takes to be president of the United States. And I do think, even my district, I don't believe that my district is a socialist district. I don't believe that my old district believes in democratic socialism. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be the heartland will make this decision, not Queens, New York, or not Boston, or not Chicago, or other big cities. It's going to be in our heartland and the Rust Belt that's going to make the difference here.
All right. Well, I think the 14,000 difference between yourself and Congresswoman Cortez, it was close enough to make a lot of people think if it were to be run again, would she win again by the big margin or by even that margin? So what do you think? I mean, already there's talk about primarying her. I don't know whether it would be you or someone. What do you think of that talk?
Listen, I live by the sword. I die by the sword. I take my hat off to her. She won the primary. She's now the congresswoman, and I do wish her well. I wanted to perform well for my former constituency.
So you're not going to challenge her in 2020?
I don't have plans to challenge at this point in time. I do think that she's probably most vulnerable in a first re-election. And so she's become a national figure, an international figure in so many ways, and that bodes well for her, I think, in terms of re-election.
So do you think, Mug's choice so it is, that she will be challenged for the nomination?
I suspect she probably will, but I don't have certitude on that. I suspect, though, that she will.
Have you talked with her much?
No, I haven't, no.
So does she ever try to reach out to you or you to her?
We spoke briefly after the election, and we've run into each other a couple of times, but there hasn't been much communication between us.
So is she the future of your party or someone more moderate?
I think that the future of the Democratic Party is a strong one because we have the ability to really have a wide breadth of vision.
No, I
And
understand
can
that, but is
incorporate
she, in her politics and her, views, more in keeping with that, or let's say yours?
I think that she has a component that is important to the Democratic base, and at the same time, it's a big base and it's a wide base. And I think that she's adding aspirationally to what Democrats want.
Joe Crowley, thank you. It's always good seeing you.
Thank you, Neil. Good to be with you.
All right, well, it has happened. Mayor Bill de Blasio officially running for president of the United States in 2020. He's already facing a lot of tough opposition from police in his own city. The man who organized some of this week's more memorable Times Square protests against the mayor joins me now. New York City Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Lynch. Patrick, good to have you back.
Good to be with you.
You don't like the guy. Why not?
It's not that I don't like him. I don't like his policies. I don't like where he's trying to bring the city. Look, the city was in a good place. His policies is going to ruin it. We feel safe on the street because New York City police officers made it that way.
He says he did.
Well, I never saw him in the back of a radio car with our police officers. But what I have seen him doing is disrespect police officers, not support police officers, and worse than that, work with the city council to change the laws to make our job more difficult. So he's going to say, well, the city's safe now. Well, the reforms he's making, that's rapidly going to turn. Unfortunately, the next mayor is going to have to deal with it. And the mayor's going to say, it was fine when I was there, because he was working on past mayors' hard work. And more importantly, standing on the shoulders of New York City police officers. The economy in the city is doing well because of the police officers standing in front of this building, making people feel safe. Tourism, business, folks spending their money, tax revenue, that's all because of the work of police officers.
Well, his people come back and say, well, unemployment level has never been so low in New York City.
Well, maybe some of that goes with where the country goes as well, besides what's happening here in the city. But none of it would happen without the safety aspect. But he's running on the mantra, I'm a friend of labor.
Right.
We'll ask a New York City police officer with 30% behind other police officers that work on the same street corners as us, MTA, New York State troopers. Those police officers doing the work on the same corners is paid 30% more. We're the lowest paid police department in the country, even though the city is prosperous because of our work.
But even besides your men and women, what's interesting is when people in this city who know the mayor well, Republican or Democrat, a majority of both sides said, no, we don't think it's a good idea.
Yes.
What does that say?
70% of the citizens of the city said don't run for mayor and go away. Don't even stay here. People are looking forward to him not being the mayor so we can get the city back on track.
But wouldn't they then be saying, well, go ahead and run?
No, because look, it would be easy to say just get rid of him, but New Yorkers are reasonable folks. They know, they sense people, they read people. They're saying, look, he's not genuine in what he believes. You can have someone believe left or right, and you can respect their opinion because they believe. He's going where the wind blows.
Well, what would happen if we had a President de Blasio?
I think the country would go the same direction as the city. We're on the cliff of going bad. We need to get it back. We don't want that to happen in the country. You need someone that believes in our system, that can stand up and be a cheerleader for the country, as well as the city, as the mayor should. He's not doing that. City employees dislike him. They're the ones that know him most.
Is your association a fan of the president?
We're supportive of the president. We believe he supports police officers. We just went through Police Week, where we honor police officers who were killed in the line of duty. He had the ceremony for the families. He's very good with those families. He connects with them. The White House was lit up in blue in support of police officers. And he doesn't shy away from us. All we ask for is support and respect. We get neither from this mayor. So if we become president, we wouldn't get it in the White House, and that's not a good thing.
We shall see. Patrick Lynch, thank you very, very much. And we did put out a call to the mayor. Hope springs eternal and just hasn't returned it. But, I get that a lot, folks.